Well guys, we are back tonight with an episode of Spool My Rod. So what I've got here is I've got my Savage Gear medium game rod, which is my 12 to 35 gram rod, and the SG6 3000 reel. This has got 20 pound Power Pro moss green braid on it. I'm going to be taking the braid off this. I'm going to be putting it onto this, which is my ultralight game rod, which is my 3 to 10 gram, and it's got my Savage Gear SG4 reel 3000 FD, and it's currently got 18 pound Dewa hypersensor monofill line on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a big chunk of this mono line off. I'm going to leave a section on as a backing for the braid, and then I'm going to spool the braid off that one onto this one, and then I'm going to put new braid, which is I think it's 30 pound Power Pro braid, onto my bigger rod. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to change the camera angle now so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so I've got a spare reel here. This is my ultralight rod. What I'm going to do, I've unclipped it, pulled the line out, and I'm just going to wrap it around here. And then I'm going to unspool this just by hand. Spool it onto this rod, onto this reel, sorry. This is just so I'm not making a mess. You can spool it by swapping it onto another rod and all that stuff, but I'm not overly bothered about messing around like that. And I haven't got much line left on the on this reel anyway, so it shouldn't take me too long. Alright, so that's on. What I'm just going to do is feed this back under, because I'm going to re-spool it back to where I want it to be. And I've got a trusty bowl of water here, which I'm just going to dump this into. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-spool. I'm going to re-spool this till it's probably about, I don't know, 1 maybe 2 millimeters full. And then I'm going to cut it. Put a bit of tension on the line. Reel. About there, I'm gonna say. So that there is now re-spooled partially with a bit of mono, and that is the backing for my braid. I'm just gonna cut this short now. There, right. So I've now got my mono backing. So what I'm going to do now is, this is my big reel, or big rod. I'm just going to take this reel off. Oh, fill it with water, try not to do that. So this is now my, this is a 20 pound line that I want to spool onto this braid backing. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a double uni knot. So how I do this, I get my mono, I get my braid. Right, let's try this again. I did just go through all of this and then thought I was cutting the tag end of the braid and actually cut the braid itself, so don't do that. What a numpty. Right, I'm going to start again. So I've got braid line and mono line, okay? I'm going to do a double uni knot which joins them both together. Yeah, so first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tag end of the mono fill, I'm going to make a loop like this, and it's looped, and you can see I've got the braid here, the mono fill here, and I'm going to then wrap the tag end around the braid and the loop. Okay, I'm going to do it 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to pull the mono and pull the tag of the mono tight. Bit of spit, pull it tight so it cinches up around the braid. More or less pretty tight anyway. So then I take the braid tag end, okay, and I do the same. So I've got the tag end of the braid now, I do a loop, and then I wrap the tag end round through the loop and round the mono to form another uni knot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm going to do 7 wraps. And then you pull the braid and cinch that knot down on the braid a bit. Bit of spit, pull that knot tight. And then you take both main lines and you see them 2 knots and you pull them, and it pulls the knots together and it cinches the knots. So you've got, you can pull that pretty tight then, to be fair. There's no way that's coming off. And now I'm going to trim the tag end this time of the mono line. Pretty snug. And then the braid, the tag end of the braid. Need a sharper knife. Right. So that is my mono and my braid joined together. So what I'm going to do is now I can spool my light rod with the mono backing. I can spool it with the braid off of this rod and not waste any braid whatsoever. I'm just wetting this spool I don't want to dip it in because it's got a lot of grease in there on the bearings. Saying that, I've just dipped it in on the grease side, so God, I'm such a numpty me. Anyway, might as well dump it in now, haven't I? Alright, so we're ready to spool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tighten this up. I'm going to cinch it in between my fingers, and then I'm just going to reel nice and tight. Just going to loosen it off a bit first. That's it. Now it is time to reel the braid onto my new line. There we go. And that is it. That spool done. So we've now just transferred the line, £20 braid, from my medium game rod to my ultralight game rod, and I would say that is spooled just about right. What I'm going to do now is just attach a leader to save me doing it when I'm next out. So I'm going to take some of this £18 mono line, and I'm just going to tie this on about 3 foot of it. Better. Alright, so I'm going to tie my leader on, which is going to be this £18 mono line. Everyone's going to say, why don't you use fluorocarbon? Well, I don't have any, so, and I'm not about to spend a load of money buying some, so I'm using mono. And we're going to do the double uni knot again, same principle. So when I do a loop, oh, it is, I like tying them this way, I can't do it the other way. I'm going to do a loop, I'm going to wrap it round 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull that tag end. Then I'm going to do the same with the braid. Where's my braid tag? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pull that down. Bit of spit. That can tighten up pretty much all the way. And then grab both ends and pull them down. That is my leader tied. So going to trim that tag end. I'm going to trim that tag end. And I'm gonna cut off. Probably gonna leave what, 1, 2. I'm gonna leave 3 foot of line on this. And that's it. I'm just gonna wind this up, and then that is ready to go. And that is spooled. That's my ultralight rod, all spooled, a £20 braid and £18 mono. Yeah, good to go. Right, these SG6 reels are actually really good because they have a rubber backing strip there, which stops the braid slipping, so you don't actually have to put any monoline on the as a backing. So I'm just going to spool this straight up with braid, which is this braid, Power Pro, 20.23mm, and I think it's £30. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie onto the spool with a uni knot, which is how I do it. So I'm going to create a loop like this, big loop, I don't know if you can see that, and then I'm going to create another loop and do a uni knot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll do 8 for good luck. I'm going to spit on there. I'm going to pull that tight. And then what I've made there, I've actually made a loop. So, right, so what we do is, I've got that loop. Press the loop. Make sure the main line is going the direction that it's spooled, yeah? So I get the main line. I feed it up through. Then I'm going to wrap it. Trying to make sure I'm actually on the rubber. And then I'm going to pull it tight. That is now on. Okay, so then I'm going to stick this in the water, trusty water, and here we go. And now I'll put that on. And there we have it, spooled up now with £30 braid. And that concludes that. So, what have we done? We've taken a £20 braid off my medium game rod and put it onto my light game rod. It's a smaller diameter than the £18 monofill that was on there. It should cast better, it's stronger, and it should be an all-round upgrade. So I've put that on there, and I've put about a 3-foot monofill leader on there. I don't have any fluoro, so I can't do that. And then I've respooled my medium game rod with a heavier duty braid, Power Pro 30-pound line instead of 20 now, which is just going to be a bit better for the snags and hopefully hook a big massive pike. Hope you enjoyed that little video. I did promise that I was going to do a bit more on my setup, so that is you know, a touch on what we do when I spool the rods. Everyone does it differently. Don't hold me to anything. It's not the best way to do it. It's my way of doing it. Any tips, stick them in the comments. Yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.